Hello. So I thought I'd make a video about chip strategy. Had a little bit more of a think this week. Was hoping to kind of clear my mind about a little bit more, but it's still quite tricky to figure out. But I've got a few thoughts I thought I'd share. I wanted to. I mean, some people have been saying there's no point thinking about it all just yet until after the FA Cup results. But I kind of feel like there is. I want to kind of get prepared and have a kind of a better feel and a sense of what I need to do. Get a kind of. I want to try and put a measure on it if I can, so that when the FA Cup results start coming in and everybody starts moving and all the content creators are saying, let's go this way, let's go that, I want to kind of have a sense of what I want to do. So I've looked into that. I've got kind of three strategies, three paths in my mind at the moment. The main two are free hit 33 or free hit 34. But I am still open to wildcarding later. I've got this kind of idea in my head of like, I may not have to wildcard and I may actually be able to get through all the way through here by kind of still doing a free hit 33 route. Building my team. My team's kind of built out of the 34 players anyway, the players that are playing in 34. I can probably get to 32, use my triple captain in 32. And then I've got this half idea in my head of like, if we get doubles in 36, and they're teams that are totally different to the teams from 34, then I can wildcard in 35, hopefully roll some transfers, and then just use my bench and transfers to clean it up in 37. And if the 36 doublers are the same as the players who 34, because that could happen, Liverpool and Nottingham Forest can get doubles and stuff, then I would wildcard in 37 instead. I'll dead end into 36 and then wildcard out of it. And I know people say using your wildcard so late is, it's a waste of a wildcard, but I don't really view it like that. I kind of view wildcards as just, it depends how it's more to do with strategic deployment of it at the end of the game, at the end of the season. Because if I don't have to use a wildcard, then what's the point? If it's about where you can make the most bang for your buck, I guess. So they're my three that I'm thinking of. So you got wildcard 30 or 31 with free hit 33 or free hit 34. They're the two main paths that people are talking about. I'll get into that in a minute. I've made kind of like two little drafts. Or I may save my wildcard till later. There's a couple of questions, key questions. One is this, with this double game week 36, I think there's a question of like, how likely do you think there will be double game weeks here? Because I kind of get the feeling there's a bit of a blind spot where not many people are really talking about this part of the season. They're almost kind of like focusing on this part and then just thinking, well, we'll just figure it out, or we'll just use transfers to patch it up. Some people are thinking maybe the teams that double in 33 will probably be the same teams that will double in 36, and so maybe that's one route. They're just hoping to get lucky with that. I've also noticed a few people of a lot of content creators kind of seem to lean on the side of suspecting that there won't be that many doubles in 36. It's more likely they'll just stay in 37. Whereas I tend to lean more towards the view that there will be at least two doubles in 36. Or at least one. I don't know. But anyway, that's one bet you could make. And if you think there's actually going to be more doubles and you think it might be worth... This is why I'm thinking maybe this strategy of saving my wildcard till later, I may be able to get a bit of a boost there when everybody else has kind of gone to sleep and they can't kind of take advantage of that. So that's one thing I'm thinking about, and I'll get into that in a minute. And then the other one is like Haaland, and it's just this basic free hit 33 or 34 route. If you want to go the free hit 34 route, you're building your team. You either want to build your team out of the players who play in 34, or you build your team out of the doublers who double in 33. And it's Man City, it's Team Haaland, isn't it? Really, I wouldn't be able to get Haaland in. I doubt if I go free hit 33. So that's the main question. But then you're also, if you go this route, free hit 34, you're also kind of bringing in You're going to be bringing in probably some Villa players. They'll double, and then whoever the other doublers are. So maybe some Brighton, maybe West Ham. So you're going to have to carry some of those players. So they're the two main routes. Whereas in this route, you're going to be made up of like Salah. You'll probably be keeping Palmer. And the question of Haaland, I've started coming round to it now. The reason why I was always against Haaland for a long time was because he's just cost too much, and I figured your money's going to be better spent elsewhere in the team, spread out. But there is a kind of question now of like, where do you actually spend the Haaland money now? Because it used to be Trent, Palmer, and then probably one other downgrade. If I was to get Haaland, I'd have to sell Palmer, sell Trent, and one other. I need to get another 1.5, 2 million from somewhere. Whereas now it's like Trent's not really an option. Palmer might not be an option, and he's not really in great form. And if I can just find another downgrade somewhere else, Haaland might be worth it. So I've started to become more open to this view. The free hit 34 is now. I mean, if you just take the vibes, I feel like the vibes are there with Haaland. Man City, they got a good run in. They tend to finish quite strongly. They've got a load of good players, good fixtures, and Haaland, his delta's like 0, isn't it? His delta's really 0. He's still ticking along 0.86 XGI for the season. It's like kind of like Isaac levels, isn't it? Where is Isaac? He's up the top there. Yeah, it's the same as Isaac. He's kind of those kind of levels, but his delta is 0, so he hasn't really been overperforming or anything. Sounds like he's doing okay. And we know what he's capable of, so I do like the idea of getting Haaland. I hate the idea of not having him against Leicester as well. But that's fine. You just have to kind of grit. You can't own them all, can you? So if I don't have him, I'll just have to hold my breath and hope for the best. Yep. So that's one question. How much do you want Haaland? Or would you rather have Palmer? I'm probably not going to have Trent, but would you rather spread the Haaland money around and go for other players? That's one of the questions. Trent, I think, is done, probably, isn't he? There is a possibility he comes back sooner than we think. There's a possibility he'll want to finish his career at Liverpool on a high. I think is he definitely going to Real Madrid? I think he is. So he might want to finish his career on a high, and he might come back and really put in a load of effort. But I would have thought more likely if Bradley's the future now. Once Bradley's back, Slot would rather play him if he's the future. And if Trent's mind's not in it, and if they've won the league and the title's sewn up as well, kind of feels a bit of a risk to go to what's his name, Trent. When is Bradley back? Gameweek 35ish. So yeah, by that point, I don't know. By that point, you're not going to want Trent. So I'm willing to get rid of Trent. Palmer, there's just a lot up in the air at the moment. I'm in a bit of a state of flux. Like, I'm waiting to hear about Wood, Mateta, Palmer. I want to see the FA Cup results, see if Dango's going to be playing or not. That's Bowen there. I've made a transfer already, but in this FPL team. So I haven't kind of decided which path I want to go, and there's a lot of kind of like moving pieces. And if I suddenly get too many injuries, there is a world where I just wildcard right now in 30, and maybe even just bring Haaland in and stuff. But let's talk about. I was trying to quantify which path is the best. I did start getting into solvers, and I haven't done it yet, but I have finally started looking into solvers. FPL Optimized Sir Talp, he does a tutorial of how to get it set up, and I've done it, and it's pretty good. But I haven't got it to solve your chips yet. It's only the game weeks. I haven't got it to solve chips and stuff, so I need to look into that. So I haven't done that yet. I've just done it manually for now. Maybe over the weekend I'll have a look at it. But manually, when I was just looking at the numbers, trying to compare, these are the game weeks, free hit 33, free hit 34 strategy and stuff, it comes out really close. at the moment it's got like free hit 33 slightly better off, but I wouldn't even think about those numbers that much because, pardon me, just the slightest change, if I just kind of change these settings a little bit and add it, have a little bit more, make it more form heavy, all of a sudden these numbers, it should update in a minute. Hopefully these numbers should update. Now it's kind of neck and neck. And so this is the problem with like using models and stuff and data and numbers. You tweak the numbers a bit and it all comes out a little bit differently. This is also set up at the moment with these fixtures, with these doubles and these doubles. But of course, if we get a different set of doubles, it's all going to change as well. But I was trying to go through each game week and just trying to see where the strength of each one lies and where the weaknesses are. As you go through, I mean, some strategies, whether you wildcard in 30 or 31, my model was suggesting that with the free hit 33 strategy, if I move my wildcard 31 to 30, I'll actually get a benefit. Whereas if in this strategy, free hit 34, the Haaland strategy, if I bring the wildcard to 30, I get it's worse off. But my intuitions think that that's the opposite way. That's the opposite. And in here, according to FPL team, it says that I'll get a benefit by doing bringing the Haaland wildcard forward. That's what you'd expect, I think. So you can get Haaland and you can captain him against Leicester, maybe, or at least get him in the team. So yeah, I mean, this is the problem with all these trying to put a number on it. It's like there's so much variability between different models and different settings and stuff that, yeah, you can't really take it to the bank too much. But yeah, my intuition would be that one of the benefits of free hit 34 is that you could potentially bring the wild card forward to 30 and get a nice benefit in 30. But then the downside of that is that if you don't have the fixture announcements, that's going to be much harder, because if you're free hit 34, don't know how to view it better, but if you're free hit 34, then you're bench boost in 33, and if you don't have all the double information, then who are your edge pieces going to be? You can get Man City and Villa, but Brighton, West Ham, are they definitely doubling in 33? They might not. So that's one of the disadvantages of that, I guess. Whereas this strategy, free hit 33, you probably could bring a wild card forward to 30 if you had to, and it probably wouldn't affect things too much because you're just going to free hit in 33 anyway. So I'm not sure if I'd make that many changes. I mean, I've got 8 there, but one of the reasons why I like the idea of wildcarding in 30 is because I don't like the idea of making transfers that I'm going to do on a wildcard in 31 anyway. If I did like Raul Jimenez to Mateta, I might bring Sarr in. If I'm going to do that on a wildcard anyway, it just feels like a waste of a transfer. You may as well bring the wildcard forward and just do it straight away, and then save yourself. Then you can roll the transfers and have more transfers later on. But yeah, but that all depends on the news we get on Chris Wood and Palmer, Mateta, Dango, the FA Cup. There's a lot in flux at the moment, so I need to kind of wait and see whether I bring it forward to 30 or not. But that's one of the first things to think about with wildcard 30. Can you bring the wildcard forward earlier? Yeah, it's a bit risky with this strategy. 34, free hit 34. Then as you go through, 31 is just a normal game week. There's not much to say about that, I don't think. 32, in the free hit 33 strategy, you're probably going to be bench boosting. And in the free hit 34 strategy, you're probably going to be triple captaining Isaac. Most people would. Some people might save it for 36, but it's going to be a bit more of a risk. I doubt you'd have a guarantee that will be doubles in 36 by that point. So most people will triple captain Isaac in 32, I should think, in this strategy. The bench boost in 32, I haven't had a great look at it, but I mean, this is just one thing that it didn't look great. This is one way it's ended up. I mean, both drafts you're probably going to have triple Palace and triple Newcastle. And then it's just there's only a few edge pieces we're talking about here. In 32 for this draft, free hit 34, you can squirrel away your crappy players. Like if you want to have some West Ham players, they play Liverpool there, you can just bench them and get them out for the double in 33, things like that. Yeah, the bench boost here in 32 though, I'm still kind of inclined to think that bench boost 36 might look better. Where did I do it? I don't think it was there. I think it was in this one, wildcard 36. If I was going to wildcard here, I can potentially get to you got Nottingham Forest versus Leicester, so you can have double Nottingham Forest defence there. You got Mbomo against Ipswich, could be for a bench boost there. I've got Sarr versus Tottenham, Wissa, maybe Ipswich. My hunch was that 36 could be a juicier bench boost. And even if you don't get the doubles, you may still get fixtures like this. You got Man City versus Southampton. Yeah, I was kind of getting the vibes that Gameweek 36 might be a better double, but a better time to bench boost. But where are we? So 32, that's what would happen though, and I'm not sure there's much to say. If you triple captain an Isaac in 32 versus a triple captain in 36, well, see, that's another thing about 36 is you might get a Haaland. Haaland could get a double against Southampton and Bournemouth at home, and that would be a very nice triple captain. So that's another thing. Would you rather triple captain Isaac in 32 and then bench boost in 36, or bench boost in 32 and triple captain Haaland in 36? Probably, I don't know, maybe Haaland. The problem as well though is that that's not guaranteed. The bench boost is probably fairly guaranteed if you're going to go for Brentford and Nottingham Forest players, and the triple captain here against Isaac is fairly guaranteed. But we don't quite know what's going to happen with doubles in 36, whether they'll even happen at all or whether it will be other teams. But that's one thing to think about. So 32, yep, triple captain, bench boost. Yep. Also, another thing to think about is Crystal Palace's double is not that good. Man City away, Newcastle away. It might be worth thinking about not having three and maybe only having two, just Mateta and Munoz or something, or that could be a consideration. I've only got two in this draft here at the moment. Same with Newcastle, you could probably have three. The question with Newcastle is it's obviously going to be Isaac. And then you've got a question of Gordon or Murphy, and that's going to be a kind of budget question, because I would have thought everybody would go for Gordon if they can. He's suspended for 30 though, isn't he? Remember, so you might have to bench him if you bring him in. If you wildcard 30, or bring him in 30. But I think most people would want Gordon, but Murphy, you might have to go for him if you ain't got the money. He's only 5 million, I think. So that's one consideration. And then defence. Who do you go for? Do you go for Pope, Byrne, Livramento, Trippier, Shah? Which one do you go for? I'm not sure it matters that much. Shah is the most nailed. I think Pope is probably nailed. You'd have to research it. I've heard some people saying that he's not very good and people want Dubravka playing or something. I don't know, but you might want to keep an eye on that. But there is I heard somebody talking about Botman coming back, and when Botman comes back, whose place will he take? Will he take Burns, or will Byrne go over to the left and Livramento miss out, or will Byrne go to the left, Livramento to the right, and then will it be Trippier who misses out? Which one of those players will miss out? And that is something to consider. But I think Botman's not due back until 3rd of May, which is Gameweek 35. Gameweek 35. And you may not need your Newcastle players. If you're in the free hit 34 strategy, there's a very good chance you'll be selling your Newcastle in Gameweek 33 if that's your bench boost. they're going to have a single game week against Aston Villa away, which is not very good. You're probably going to want to sell 2, if not all 3 of your Newcastle in this game week 33. So you only need them up until 33 anyway. So that might not matter for you. Whereas in this strategy, in the free hit 33 strategy, you may be more inclined to end up keeping your Newcastle players. Certainly for 34, because you'll want them back for the Ipswich at home game. So that could be a risk. If Botman comes back early, you're going to want him for that game. You're going to have Triple Palace against Arsenal there as well in 34. That's not ideal. You're going to be wanting both of these strategies are assuming wildcard 30 or 31. So you're going to be wanting to save as many transfers as you can for this 36-37 period. So, it might be a bit more of a consideration in free hit 33 strategy. Pope or Shah are probably your safest bets. But then the other thing about that, though, is that Newcastle, once you get the other side of Ipswich, they then go into Brighton, Chelsea, Arsenal, Everton. So you could sell or even bench your players there once you get to that point. So, so that's something to bear in mind with your Newcastle defenders. Free hit 34 doesn't really matter because you can free hit them in 34 as well for the Ipswich game. But then this one, free hit 33, you might need to think about who you're going to go for. It might be a bit of a risk. You just have a think about it, or bypass it altogether. So another thing to think about with 33 is you got the free hit 33 on the left here, and then this is the team. The team who free hit the people who free hit in 34, they're going to be building a team to have a bench boost in 33. So it's probably going to be very similar teams. I don't think the advantage will be seen in the free hit 33 game week. The teams will be similar, and at the moment I haven't done made any transfers in either of these. I wanted to just try and keep it as simple and pure as possible, and then you can think about transfers later. But this in free hit 34, this is where they'll be making all their transfers. I think they'll probably be wanting to maximise their bench boost. When you come into game week 33, you're going to have triple Crystal Palace and triple or doubled Palace, whatever, and then triple Newcastle, and they're both. Well, they're probably not going to double. Palace might. Newcastle aren't doubling, I'm pretty sure. I think they've got like 0 chance of doubling. Let me just double check that. They're not doubling in 33. So you're going to want to sell. If you're on a bench boost 33 strategy, you're going to have triple Palace, triple Newcastle for their double in 32, and then you're going to want to sell all 3 of them for the double. And I think this is why a lot of people are saying the most important thing is the Crystal Palace game against Fulham. And if Palace win, then they're probably going to get a double in 33, which means all these doublers, all these Palace doublers in 32, they're going to be doubling in 33 as well. And so it makes your bench boost nicer. It all makes it easier. Whereas if they don't, if they lose, you're going to come into this block here, game week 33, and you're going to want to sell all of your Newcastle and all of your Palace. I think probably Newcastle, because you can free hit them in 34, and then you're not going to want them for the end of the season. Maybe Isaac, you could keep Isaac, but you're also going to want money for your bench boost to spread around. So you know people are going to be inclined to sell Isaac, I think. And if Palace aren't doubling either, you're going to use up all your transfers here. So that's one possible roadblock to that strategy. But if Palace do double, I mean, you can do it even if Palace double. Just it depends how many transfers you got, and if you're willing to play some of these in a bench boost. You know, you could play Isaac against Villa away potentially. But I don't think these two teams will be that different, because any transfers you make, you're going to be trying to keep up with the free hitters anyway. This is very quickly put together as well. I haven't really thought about it massively. and it will change depending on who's doubling. Yeah, free hit. Yeah, so the only advantage of free hit 33, you might get some last minute injury news and stuff, and you might be able to benefit from that. Also, if you're on a free hit, you can have a super cheap bench because they're not even going to play. Whereas the bench boost 33ers will have they're going to have more money on their bench probably, but not a huge difference there. And then you go into free hit 34, and this is the team that isn't free hit, and this is the team that is free hitting. The only got back coming. The only advantage I think is, so the free hit 34 again, so they can have a very cheap bench, and I think that might mean that they can afford Saka. There's Cunha as well. These are like the two secret weapons that the free hit 34ers might have in this game week. But you could probably sell Mateta to Cunha. I think a lot of people would probably do that. You got triple Palace against Arsenal away isn't very good. You could sell Mateta to Cunha and keep up with that. But Saka, I think Saka might be hard to get if you want to keep Palmer and Salah. Otherwise, it would be Saka instead of Salah or Palmer, which is a possibility because I think Chelsea's fixtures get a bit tough. 34 Everton, then Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, Nottingham Forest. So you could sell Palmer. It depends what kind of Palmer we got. So maybe Saka will come in there. But I also think there's a possibility that people are going to want Haaland. If Haaland gets this double in 36, I think one move might be that people will sell Isaac to Haaland and then Palmer down to somebody cheap. So you might not be able to get Saka for that reason either, because you might be thinking about bringing in Haaland for the run in here. I mean, Haaland, even if he doesn't double, Haaland's still going to have in the last few game weeks, going to have Wolves and Southampton, and then Bournemouth and Fulham, whether that's a double or 4 singles. And with Isaac and Newcastle having tough fixtures as well, with Brighton, Chelsea, Arsenal, Everton, tough-ish. I think some people might be tempted to do that. Isaac up to Haaland, then Palmer down to somebody cheap towards the end. So that's a possible thing. So, yeah, so Saka could be like a secret weapon for the free hit 34ers, but that'll be about it, I think. The rest will all be kind of fairly even, I should think. Yeah. Triple Palace, and then what are you going to do with your Palace? What's the free hit 33 is going to do with Palace? Their fixtures, the fixtures are actually kind of naff the whole way through. It's only because they've got that double there. Southampton's good. Brighton's okay. Double is good. It's a rubbish double, but it's still a double. But then Bournemouth, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, Tottenham, Wolves at home is a good fixture. Wolves will be on the beach by that point. But then Liverpool away. Their fixtures are tough, Newcastle. So maybe it could be an argument to only go for 2 of them and transfer some out. You don't really want to bring them back in for Nottingham Forest. Tottenham might be okay, depending on what Tottenham you get. Probably all right, and the Wolves is a good fixture. But so, yeah, something to think about with Crystal Palace. What are you going to do with them after their double? Then I haven't had, again, I've gone through this quite quick. I haven't really done any transfers for 35 to 38. But yeah, so one thing to bear in mind again is you want to be rolling as many transfers as you can. And in the free hit 34 route, they're going to be using a lot of transfers to set up their bench boost here, getting rid of their Newcastle, setting up the bench boost. So when they come into 35, 36, 37, they may not have many transfers left to maximise your doublers and then sort it out in 37. It's not really being shown on here, but if it happens that the doubles from 37 the blanks from 37 go into 36, if that is what happens, then the more transfers you got, the more you can maximise your doublers and then sell them off and use your bench in 37. So they could be in a weakened position there. I think this strategy, free hit 33 though, you're not bench boosting here, are you? So you don't need. I think you can save a few more transfers in this strategy, because you can just bench some of these players and yeah. If you get the fixtures right, I mean, I haven't had a massive look, but this was another thing about thinking about wildcarding in 35, because there's a lot of fixture changes that occur as well. Like Brentford are kind of rubbish up until about 35, and then they get good towards the end, and they could have this Nottingham Forest Brentford double could go into 36. I think it's more likely to end up in 30, stay in 34, but. Or if Fulham get to the final, they could have a double there as well. Bournemouth kind of have some good fixtures here, Ipswich, West Ham particularly, but then it gets hard towards the end, apart from Leicester. Gets a bit tricky. Chelsea and Newcastle, Chelsea kind of get harder towards the end. Newcastle gets tougher towards the end. So there is a kind of fixture swing that happens around about 35. So yeah, it's another thing to consider. It's another reason why I'm kind of like the idea of wildcarding in 35 if I can manage it, or at least saving some transfers for it. And then yeah, that's it. You can probably see it better here. Did I actually do a wildcard? This is a wildcard. 36. 37. I mean, I took a hit there. This is the draft where I was kind of running through. This would be my wildcard 35 draft. So if I just kind of walk through this as well. So one of the things I had to do was if I want Gordon, I'm going to have to find the money for it. So I'm going to have to sell Bowen to Sarr or something like that. So that was one thing I had to do. Ideally, I don't want to use as many. I want to use as few transfers as possible. So it'd be like Raul Jimenez to Mateta. I wouldn't go for Haaland. Either Lewis or Aït-Nouri would be playing, something like that. I'd really ideally want to have Gordon rather than Murphy. Sarr instead of Eze is not too much of a problem, but Gordon over Murphy I'd much rather have, I think. But I could go Murphy if I had to. Then 32, I'd probably have triple Palace, triple Newcastle, or however many I need or want. I might see it if I'm thinking of maybe ending up with hits in 37. Then maybe I wouldn't bring in Livramento. Maybe I'd just bypass the Newcastle defence and save myself a transfer. Still free hit 33. 34 I should be reasonably set up okay for it. Aït-Nouri could come in handy there as well against Leicester. And then wildcard 35. Wildcard 35. I don't know why I've kept my my Crystal Palace. I haven't given it a massive amount of thought. But yeah. And then you got a bunch of doublers in 36, and then I'd use transfers on my bench to kind of clean it up in 37, going into the end. And basically, the more transfers you have, if you've got a wild card and transfers, the more doublers you can get in 36, and you can get a decent team out in 37 as well. Whereas the less transfers you have, you're going to have to go for players like I've gone for like Mboma and Wissa against Ipswich, which is fine. And then they may have, there are going to be some players who have a good single fixture in 36 and a good single in 37. So you'll have to go for like players like that. Yeah, Haaland to Beto I've done. Look at that. Might be some funny punts you can go for in the last two game weeks. So that is, I think, my thoughts. That's just me thinking through it all. So, yeah, this period here of 36, the fact that there's so much unknown about it, we might get no doubles, we might get two doubles, and we don't know who the doubles are going to be. It's Man City play Bournemouth, so it's likely to be Man City Bournemouth will get a double because one of them will probably get to the final, but they might not. It could be Brighton gets to the final. It could be Crystal Palace. Could be Fulham. And then you've got doubles for Brentford and West Ham. And who's the other one? Brentford and West Ham, whoever. Palace and Wolves. Liverpool. So we don't know what's going to happen in 36. So I guess it depends how you want to navigate that and what you think is likely to happen. And I like the idea of punting on that a little bit and thinking, I think there probably will be 2 doubles. And I'd like to be ready for it when everybody else is focusing on here. Yeah, maybe. So that's one thing I need to think about. And then if not, if I do go for a wildcard 30-31, it's which path do you want to go for? The Haaland path, which is the free hit 34 path, bench boost 33, or the free hit 33 path. Yeah. So that is what I'm thinking. One couple of other things. So the Nottingham Forest, a couple of other notes to mention. Nottingham Forest, where is it likely to go? If Nottingham Forest win in the FA Cup quarter-final, they beat Brighton, this Brentford game, it sounds like it's unlikely to go in 33. It's now unlikely to go in 35 as well. There was a new fixture announcement. So where's Nottingham Forest? Here they are here. So they've got this fixture here on the Monday in Gameweek 33, which makes it difficult to put a double here because they'll be playing in the FA Cup semi-final there if they win and get to the semi-finals. Difficult to put one in. I do think it's possible this game could move, but it's just unlikely. They do move them sometimes, even though it's a TV pick. I think it's possible it could move, but I think it's unlikely, especially as there's not enough reason to move it, not good enough reason to move it. And basically, we've got a new TV pick here now, and this is Nottingham Forest again, has been drawn on the Monday in Game Week 35, which makes it unlikely that they'll have a double game week in 35 now. Possible still, it could get put on the Thursday, and then have another fixture on the Sunday, but just unlikely. So I think if Nottingham Forest win, their double will probably go in either 34, which would sort of just stay in 34, or 36 is your 2 top options. And I think it's probably just going to go in 34 would be my hunch. So Nottingham Forest are a team that even if they win, they'll probably just carry on with a fixture in 34 anyway. But it might not do. It could go in 36. So that's Forest. I don't know if I need to go through the others. I mean, Man City, Aston Villa, very likely to go in there. It could go in 37, Man City, Aston Villa, but it's just super unlikely. I think if they win, and it's likely that one of those two will get through to the semi-finals, Man City or Aston Villa, that will go in 33. Palace and Arsenal, very likely to go in 33. Bournemouth and Man United, if Bournemouth win, very likely to go in 33. And then the rest, I suspect most people know about this already, but the rest are a bit more. I still think the rest will probably go in 33, apart from Nottingham Forest, unless they want to make it fair, and then they put Nottingham Forest and Brentford in 33 as well, move the fixture, but probably not. So yeah, the rest are a bit more uncertain. Then, what else did I want to point out? Something else, when it comes to like the players, there's one thing I wanted to point out, which is like yellow cards. I've just been noticing it a little bit. Semenyo's on like 9. So I think people know about this, but Semenyo's on 9. They've got to get to 34, game week 34. So they've got 4 game weeks, 30, 31, 32, 33. And then once they get through those 4, if they get to 10 before that point, then they get two suspensions, 2 days suspension. So Semenyo's got to get through the next 4 game weeks without getting one more yellow card, or he's suspended. So that's doesn't look good at all. You've got other players though. Gibbs White and Rogers are on 8. Delap, Cucurella, Dan Burn all on 8. So they've got to get through the next 4 game weeks, the next 4 games at least. Well, it's 4 game weeks because Dan Burn's got 5 games, isn't he? He's going to have 30, 31, 32, 2 in 32. and 33. So he's got 5 games to get through, and he's got to get no more than 2 yellow. You can only have 1 yellow in that period, or he's going to get suspended. So that might be something that puts you off Dan Burn. Same with Munoz is on 7, but he's got to get through 5 games without getting 3 yellows. Yeah, you're probably all right. Anybody who's on 7 or below, you're probably okay. Timber, Gay, all on 7. Neto, Anthony Robinson on 7 yellows, but you're probably okay with them. Kluivert's on 6. So, yeah, you're probably okay with them. So, yeah, Semenyo, Dan Burn, Rogers, Gibbs-White. Maybe, if you can avoid them, Cucurella, do so. And then, is that it? I'm sure there's some other things I was going to talk about. One sec, let me just have a little think. No, I think that's about it. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, one other thing to think about is these potential doubles in 33 and 36. How many minutes are the players going to... Could there be rotation before an FA Cup semi-final and an FA Cup final? Quite possibly. You got the FA Cup final, the semi-final will be there, so these teams will be doubling here. Teams like Brighton could see rotation. Man City, maybe. You wouldn't expect it with Haaland. They might not have a choice with Vardiol. I don't know. But some of these teams are going to see rotation. If you can choose players from the teams who aren't playing in the FA Cup semi-final, so their opponents. I mean, you're not going to pick anybody from Southampton if it's Fulham, Southampton. But where's West Ham? Who do they play again? Brighton. So West Ham players will be all right because they've got Southampton at home, and then they'd have Brighton away, and then a day off, a weekend off there. So you could get some West Ham players maybe. Same with Arsenal actually. Arsenal would have Ipswich away, Crystal Palace at home, and then a weekend off. Although they would have Europe here against Real Madrid there, so they might rest against Ipswich possibly. But yeah, same here. So that's just something to consider with the free hits and stuff. I guess it's the same whatever you do though, whether you're free hit or not. Yeah, something to consider. I think that's it though. So that's the 2 paths: free hit 33 or free hit 34, or see if you can wait. Or I'm going to see if I can wait. I kind of think at the moment, if I can, I'm going to wait to hear from news. If Palmer's okay and Wood's okay, I'm more inclined to do nothing. That's what they say sometimes, is like, if you're not sure what to do, just don't do anything. I may not bring Sarr in. Probably just leave Bowen in for now. I'll probably just do Raul Jimenez to Mateta or something like that. And then we'll figure it out this game week. And whether I sell Bowen or Mbomo will be dependent on who has a fixture in 34. If Brighton win, West Ham won't have a fixture in 34, and then so I'll probably sell Bowen. But if they lose, I'll probably sell Mbomo. I might sell Mbomo instead and keep Bowen. Anyway, so yeah, I'm more inclined to kind of like stick with that one though. I think wildcard, maybe see if I can save my wildcard till later. Yeah, I think that's it. So I will stop there. Any questions, feel free to comment. Otherwise, see you later. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.